There's a moment that every successful investor hits. It's not when you make your first million. It's when you realize you don't want to lose what you've built. And suddenly it's not about chasing returns. It's about building a plan that you can actually sleep with. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How wealthy families invest without worry. My name is Chris McClure, and for the past 30 years, I've helped successful families and business owners shift from stress-based investing to strategy-based planning. Let me show you what changes when you've got more to lose, and how the right structure can turn anxiety into clarity. Let's start with Ron and Elise. They had $6.4 million, mostly split between a large IRA, a trust account, and the sale of some commercial real estate. When markets were calm, they felt very confident. But every time headlines got noisy, bank collapses, Fed hikes, global tension, they started to second guess everything. Should we sell now? Should we rebalance? Should we just go to cash? And that's what fear does. It makes smart people very reactive. But we didn't change their portfolio overnight. We changed the way they looked at it. We built a structured, bucket-based investment plan with 3 layers. The first was a safety bucket for income and liquidity, a moderate growth bucket for goals within 10 years, and a longer-term growth bucket that they could ignore for now. You see, each bucket had its own benchmark, its own time frame, and its own purpose. And so now when markets wobble, they don't panic because they know exactly which money is for now and which money is for later. They stopped watching the Dow and they started watching sunsets. Our next story is about Priya. Priya came to me with $5.1 million and one clear goal. She didn't want to outlive her money. But when we ran the plan, we saw something else. Her current portfolio had a hidden tax problem. She was holding short-term bond funds in her trust account, and she was actively trading inside her brokerage, and her Roth was almost empty. So it was a great allocation, but really a terrible location. So we actually flipped it. We moved some income-producing investments into her IRA. We harvested losses inside her brokerage account, and we rebuilt the Roth sleeve for long-term compounding that produces tax-free income. The result is that it's a more tax-efficient portfolio. We lowered her exposure and increased her peace of mind. It really wasn't about being more aggressive, it was about being more intentional. And now she checks her plan and not the market. And the final story is Elliot. Elliot didn't need help with the math. He had $7 million and he was a former CFO. Super smart guy. But his problem wasn't technical, it was emotional. He wasn't sure when he could spend, or even if he could spend some of his money that he had saved up over the years. And the fact is that's more common than you'd think. High achievers and folks that have done a great job of saving often feel guilt around spending even decades after saving. So we worked together to define what enough actually meant. We defined it across income, we defined it across his legacy, and we defined it across lifestyle. We built in guardrails, we gave each dollar a job, and we restructured his portfolio to reflect the life that he wanted, not just the one he was protecting. He took a great trip to Europe. He bought a boat for the lake, and he smiled more after every review meeting. And that's the real point. It's not about predicting markets. It's about designing a plan that makes your wealth feel usable, feel flexible, and feel safe. Because if you're constantly worried, the portfolio isn't doing its job. If you've built real wealth, but still find yourself second-guessing decisions, wondering if you're exposed or unsure, and how much growth is enough, it's not a sign that you failed, it's a sign you've outgrown your old approach. You don't need a more complicated strategy, you need a better one, built for your stage of life. If that resonates, schedule a quick call below. You'll get clear, personalized insight based on your goals, based on your timeline, and based on your numbers. And if this helped you, I'm glad. I really love doing these videos, and I'll see you on the next one.